As a reader scribe in classes or exams, you will encounter students with different learning styles, communication strengths, and mobility challenges. If this is new for you, I just wanted to introduce some of the language and terms that are currently being used, as well as different technologies or strategies that some students may be using. Keep in mind that identifying as a person with a disability is a part of who they are, not the whole of who they are, and making assumptions that all students who are blind learn the same way or students who have a learning disability need the same resources can cause challenges and you're working with some of your peers. So get to know the student that you're working with and respect all of the students you will read or scribe for as your peers. We will cover topics that will assist you with being a reader scribe. We will go over disability as diversity, responsibilities, and what to do in exam settings. It's really important to use people-first terminology. So here are some examples, but it may be the person you are working with has a different preference. For example, some individuals with autism will describe themselves as autistic, while others refer to themselves as a person with autism. So if you don't know, ask. In the majority of circumstances, you will be just referring to them by their name. I would recommend meeting with the student you will be working with, maybe over the phone or in person before class, to make sure you have reached agreements and understood what you will be doing. Read through your responsibilities and decide on the time students would like the turnaround on the notes. Also, discuss how you will be getting the notes to the student, particularly if a student is using a screen reading software. If a student uses JAWS, which we will talk about shortly, PDFs and Word documents will need to be formatted and sent appropriately so they can be read. Additionally, if a student will be using screen readers, handwritten notes will not be sufficient. Ask if a location is accessible. He or she will most likely want to be independent and navigate on their own. If they do appear to need help, offer assistance, and if you're not sure how to assist them, ask. Physical contact. Touching a person's crutches, wheelchair, or cane is an invasion of personal space. Those devices are an extension of their person, and touching them is a violation of that. Also, don't place your coat or personal items on a person's wheelchair. Assumptions. People with disabilities are the best judge of what they can or cannot do. Don't make assumptions about their participation in activities. Before you speak, speak directly to the person with a disability, not their companion, sign language interpreter, or aide. Keep in mind the terminology mentioned before. Also, your role as reader scribe means you don't speak on their behalf to the professor. You let them advocate for themselves. Once you've gotten to know someone, many are comfortable with questions about their disability, as long as you continue to respect their privacy. Identify yourself before making physical contact and entering or leaving a room. If you are in a new environment, describe the setting and any potential obstacles. Be more specific in descriptions. Describe the door as 3 feet to your left, not over there. Don't grab their arm to guide them. Offer to have them take yours. If walking with them and a guide dog, walk on the opposite side of the guide dog. In most cases, students will be using this technology during their exams as well. The staff at the testing center are responsible for having the technology available and ready to use for the exam. Should a problem arise during the exam that isn't easily fixed, it is the student's responsibility to call the testing center to get help. The student may also choose to forego using the technology and instead just have you read Scribe for them. Sometimes the solution is simply to return to a window or move a cursor, which you can help with. But if it seems like the technology may be having more trouble than that, contact the testing center. Note the D and deaf community is used differently. Deaf with a small d is generally associated with being unable to hear and doesn't refer to the language and cultural identity, while deaf big D would refer to the deaf culture and language. Be aware of your movements when you are speaking to someone who is deaf or hard of hearing. Covering your mouth with your hand or turning your face away can make it harder for you to be understood. Most importantly, look at the person you're speaking to and not their interpreter, if they have one. The technology used by students who are deaf or hard of hearing help them to fully engage in classroom learning. Students using FM systems or CART will need their microphone to be placed most effectively, and be sure to wait your turn to speak if someone else is using the microphone. To get their attention, you can tap the table or wave in their direction instead of saying their name. CART stands for Communication, Access, Real-Time Translation. It is real-time translation that can be read by the whole audience. Audio to be captioned is delivered. Recording is converted to telephone audio. The audio is sent to a captioner. The captioner transcribes audio. Captions stream via streamtext.net. Captions are instantly available for projection, individual monitors, and mobile access. It is important to be aware of personal space when you are working with people with dexterity or mobility disabilities. If the person is in a wheelchair and you plan to speak to them for more than a sentence or two, find a chair to sit down with them. These technologies and adapted furniture should be in the classrooms and testing centers already. As their reader scribe, you shouldn't need to interact with them, but just to be aware of what they are. Speech recognition software can be as simple as the speech-to-text function in your text messages, to speaking and selecting every feature as you navigate your computer hands-free. When working with people with learning disabilities, make sure to do the following. Speak clearly and give verbal explanations. Allow adequate time for actions, reading, writing, speaking. Ask if they need clarification or have questions. Be patient, flexible, and supportive. In some instances, where it's difficult to understand an individual in a test, it helps to clarify the words you don't understand by having them explain it further. Keep in mind that particularly in test-taking situations, their anxiety could make communication harder. Just remain calm and be as helpful as you can without giving anything away. Misunderstanding words could change the whole meaning of what is being said, so be careful to understand as best as you can. These pieces of technology are used in a variety of ways and are individualized across users. Some may just use the voice recognition and word prediction software for longer assignments, while others may have it integrated into every part of their learning process. In instances where you are working alongside a piece of technology that a student is using, ask the student for a quick demo or explanation of what it is. It could be you are supplementing technology, i.e., the screen reader software is reading everything except charts, or that you are working alongside it. A student is using word prediction software for long questions but needs help with multiple choice. Take clear, concise notes and share them as you decided. If you have another question about the technology that's being used, feel free to reach out to our office. Now we are going to go over some exams do's and don'ts. Be sure to arrive at the testing center 15 minutes early and use that time to discuss with the student any requests about how they would have the test read to them and any other preferences. It is not necessary for you to check in with the testing center when you arrive, but you do need to leave your belongings. The most important thing to remember is that you are not taking this exam. You are working as the student's hands or voice and are not interpreting, correcting, or suggesting anything to them as they take this exam. The student may want you to read each question twice, or to answer the essay questions before doing the multiple choice, or only reread certain pages. They may ask you to slow down, speed up, or read louder or more softly. Do your best to comply with these requests.